Jai Jinendra, everyone. We have successfully completed two lectures in the series of Faith, Philosophy, Science, and Self. Uh, Today we have the conclusion lecture, which is lecture number three. Anubhav Bhaiya is here with us, and we can start our lecture three today now. And post that, we will be having a short question
Short
answer.
question answer.
Yes, Anubhav Bhaiya.
Jai Shri everyone. Thank you, Harshiji. Let's start with today's discussion, the conclusion. Let's start with Manglachari. Namo Arhantaram, Namo Siddharam, Namo Airiyadam, Namo Uvachayadam, Namo Lui Savvasapuram. Mangalam Bhagwan Viro, Mangalam Gautamukani, Mangalam Kunda Kundatyo, Jaina Dharmostu Mangalam, Sarva Mangalya Mangalyam, Sarva Kalyana Karikam, Pradhanam Sarva Dharmanam, Jainam Jaitu Shasanam, Jainam Jaitu Shasanam, Jainam Jaitu Shasanam, Mokshmaargah Netaram, Bhetaram Karma Bhupratam, Kyataram Vishwatattvanam, Vande Tat Gunalabdhe, Vande Tat Gunalabdhe, Vande Tat Gunalabdhe. So we all started this journey thinking that we'd be discussing these fancy terms called faith, philosophy, and science. But rather, it turned out that it has been quite disappointing a series of sessions because we're not focusing on faith, philosophy, or science, but we're focusing on self. Because self is rather the point, rather that ocean of which faith, philosophy, and science are ripples. The tragedy is that we are so busy thinking about the ripples and debating on ripples and trying to figure out how to tackle these ripples that we have totally forgotten the self, the ocean in itself. And therefore, the series was aimed at contemplating that are we really serious about science or are we serious about the self? For which science merely is an aid, which is working towards making our lives better. Are we really obsessed with philosophies and the contemplations they put forth in front of us? Or are we really uh, obsessed with ourselves to which the philosophy serves? So, why are we even talking about these three things? The whole point of talking about philosophy, faith, and science is this G, the self, the very life which even the science of today is failing to explain in rational terms that what life is, what consciousness is. And why we are even discussing about the self? Why should we? Because we have some questions which nobody till now, if we try to take it rationally, could answer in a way that is convincing to everybody. So, why do we live? Why do we eat? Why do we take birth? If we take birth, why do we die? What happens after death? Why do we also feel the suffering when, enduring the suffering is not enough? If I break this phone, it will not cry. But if I fall down, I'll get hurt. And knowing that I have fallen down will make me feel the pain as well that comes along with it. So, what is this feeling? Why the material world out there cannot feel? If I meet an accident while driving my car, the car will be in total broken state, but the car will not feel the pain. Despite being saved by all the airbags and all the precautions that I already had taken, like seat belts and everybody, despite avoiding even a single scratch on my body, just looking at my car, it breaks my heart. I feel the pain. The car is shattered. It's not even a car anymore. But it does not feel the pain of not remaining car in its wholeness. But I, on the other hand, even after surviving that horrible accident, am worried that my car is no more. So these questions make us worry. And therefore, we have this innate urge to surrender. We are looking for somebody who can give us the answers. And we just are looking for that one single tiny clue that if it clicks with us, we'll surrender to them. We'll wholeheartedly fall into their feet, and we'll be then willing to do anything that our masters say or they order. So, suffering is the question, that why do we suffer? Why cannot we make any sense of this reality? And not being able to solve this ghastly puzzle of world is what is compelling us to look for somebody who is filled with answers. Sometimes it's a person, we call him Guru. Sometimes it's a scripture text, we call it the divine text. Sometimes it can be a river, it can be an ocean, it can be a hill, it can be a temple, it can be an idol, it can be a tree, it can be anything, any object which somehow clicks with us. And if it can convince us that it will take away all our sufferings, we'll be happy to surrender to that higher entity, no matter what it is. People still take dip in the Ganges. People go to hike the mountains. People surrender themselves to the stone idols. People eat fire, literally. They pierce their bodies, they hit themselves, they walk bare feet in hot summer, and they literally think that they're pleasing somebody and it will somehow, in some sense, take away their sufferings. And therefore, our innate urge to surrender, to submit to that higher deity, higher guru, master, that urge is taking us to this world of madness. Therefore, Jainism identifies these three fundamental attributes of the self that we all must keep in check. Because, see, this is the reality for all of us. If somebody comes to you and tells you that they have it in them, that they can help you coming out of the suffering, and if they can prove it, most of us would fall to that person. And that is what is happening to this country, to all the countries that we're looking out in today's world, right? People are doing things that, you'll not, while you're sitting in your classroom and thinking rationally, you would laugh while you're a student. But later, when you graduate from your college, you end up doing the same things. And now some other students in some other classrooms are laughing at you. But they do not realize that, when life hits them, they will be doing the same things. Yeah, it's the same thing, right? We all have different temples where we go to, right? But the things that we do are just the same. For some people, fasting is not eating during the day. For some people, fasting is not eating during the night. Fasting is same. For some people, it's a idol which is having, clothes covered on it. They have all sorts of ornaments. They have all sorts of colors. Some people would worship an idol which does not have any of it. But idol worship is common to all. Some would say that no, there is no God. There is the nature in itself is God. Some would say the karma is God. Some would say that there is no God. But everybody, even if they are refuting the existence of higher entity, they are telling that they believe in something. You cannot not believe. Either you believe in God or karma, or you do not believe in believing the God, but you believe that you do not believe. So, believing in something you cannot ignore. So, that is the first and foremost attribute. Belief, we call it darshan, we call it faith. And how do you create belief? So, you have, in bits and pieces, the information gathered with you. That information comes to you, that data, and then you process it. So that is Gyaan, which you systemize it. It's if it is structured in a well form, it will be called philosophy, which is leading to that faith. So in the womb of a faith is a philosophy, which is there, which has actually given birth to this faith. So, philosophy, faith. And what do these two things do? What do they lead to? They lead to the character, they lead to the conduct, and that is called charitra, that is the execution. If I know something, and if I believe that I know that thing and that thing is true for sure, then what will I do? If I know that there might be earthquake coming tonight in this city in which I'm living, that's the knowledge I have. And if I now believe, because I can see my fan shaking, I can see the earth a bit shivering, I have now seen it. So now I believe what I know, that, oh, I was told that there is forecast that the earthquake might hit. And now I can see the earth trembling. So then what do I do? Knowing and believing leads me to running, to saving myself. So I execute the belief that I know that earthquake might come, and now it has come, and that it has come, I must take action. So that action is called charitra, and that charitra is not the function of knowledge. The charitra is function of the faith. You knew, like all of us know, that we should eat healthy food, we should not eat junk food. We all know that. I should have, in measured quantity, the intake of sugar in my life, because it's not healthy for me. But whenever it comes to me that the sweet comes, in a dish, and I just cannot control myself. I know that I should not consume sugar in larger quantity. I know that. But knowing does not lead to character. Knowing does not lead to conduct. If doctor has given me this report which says that, Anubhav, you are diabetic now. Now, if you're having sweets, you are literally having poison. Now, I knew that sugar is not good. But now doctor has given me the proof that I am diabetic. Now I have believed what I knew. And that belief has now led to my control. Now, if my mother offers me some sweet, I would be cautious. I would counter question her that, why are you doing this to me? Do you not love me? Right? So how that resistance come? It does not come from the Gyaan. It comes from the belief. So belief is the initiator of conduct, right? And it's very easy. If I have mob of 1,000 people in front of me, I tell them 100 things about, this country, the greatness of this country, they'll not be moved. But if I make them believe, no, this country was great and they are ruining it, the 1,000 men will turn into a mob and will have, the courage to fight those all we have told them to be against about. So it's very easy. If we can play with belief, we can make anybody do anything. And that's what we see in the first lesson, in the first session. But now today we are on the conclusion. And, the whole point of having this series in the beginning of this platform was to make a point that, while we are learning Jainism, even if we are doing just the Jain philosophy, we're not doing it because we are Jains. We're not doing because it's our moral duty, because we're Jains and we have to, it's the best philosophy and this and that. How can we say that if we ourselves have not verified it? So we never have to lose the sense of objectivity while even we are discussing the faith. Just because I have taken birth in a Jain family does not make me a Jain person. Jainism is a very logical philosophy. It does not ask you to be Jain. It tells you that if you are self aware and if you rationally can accept the reality around you and the reality that you yourself are, then you did not need any tag to define who you are. You do not have to reveal. That's why it's the religion, across four states of life. Like, even Darkis, even Tirenchas, even Devas, they can be Jains, but they might not have the surname like Anubhav Jain. So, the Tirench is also like that cow or that monkey is also Jain in his surname. So we do not have to be attached to a philosophy to be following that philosophy. We have to be very objective, very rational in our approach while dealing with this very simple and contextual part of our lives, that we are suffering and we want to get rid of this suffering. And my innate push is that I am looking out there for somebody who can give me all the answers and I'll surrender myself to that person. But no, now I'm taking up this challenge for myself. I'm saying that no, I myself am going to figure out what reality is and how to take myself out of this pit of suffering. Fine. So let's see if self, yani if I have a faith, I have a belief, then that faith can be right or wrong. What if that faith is false? It's a wrong belief. What if that faith is wrong belief? Then that faith will, it could be acquired faith because I was not in good company. So people told me that, okay, you know what, if you have this thing on your body and you do this many times, you might get cured. If you have, colorful rings, of different colors in your fingers, it might change your luck. Oh, look, there are some celestial bodies which are not happy with you. The moon's movement are not showing that, you're doing good with your life because they do not align with your date of birth time, right? So your time of birth is quite bad. And what do we do? You don't have to worry about anything. You just wake up early in the morning, take bath, and do this puja of this, stone, maybe. Or you can, be happy, have this wire on your body, and you can be happy with that. So now we are being told to construct beliefs in things of which we have no proof. Nobody can verify whether taking a dip in a river or whether climbing up a mountain will ever be giving us any relief from our sufferings. But because we see nowhere to go, nowhere else to go, and we have nothing else to do. So, out of depravity, we say, okay, fine, I believe that. And that's an acquired false belief. Why does it happen? Why does it happen? That quiet false belief? Because we do not question. So, unquestioned faith leads to acquired belief. And what does it call? It's called superstition. Superstition is the science which does not have any science. Right? It is called science, but it's science of foolishness because you have not tested whatever has been told to you. So you were walking and you were driving and there was cat and it just from your left towards right it crossed your path. Now, no matter how intellectually smart you have been, no matter how many degrees you have done, for one moment you'll stop. You'll not stop. Even you'll slow down your car. Some people are very rational. They say, no, I do not believe in these things, but let me wait, let other person pass. Okay. So, you want to save yourself because, you're entering somebody's house, they've invited you. And while on the doorstep, you see all the, shoes lined up. And one of the shoe and one of the chappals is not done right. It's, upside down. And there is this innate urge in you that, you want to do it, correct it. You want to just, um, do it properly, then it should be kept properly. You don't know why, but you somehow believe that it might lead to World War III. Maybe you don't know. The fightings might erupt because of that chappal, that shoe not being put in right way. So we believe in things and in my childhood we used to believe that if a child crosses over you you will not grow in your height right so we all are familiar with such beliefs so these are unquestioned beliefs which are transferred somehow in our friend circles in our communities and they lead to superstition if we choose them uh, it's not a very bright future that we're looking up to. But what about if I have not been in such bad luck that I have company of people who are who are deluded with superstitions? What if I have always been the company of rational bright people, people who admire science, people who admire who are very progressive, is there also a possibility then that I might have a wrong belief, false belief that yes, you may also have inherent belief? Inherent belief as in, again, go back to those fundamental questions. Who are you? Are you this body? Why do you like it when somebody gives you compliments? And why do you dislike it when somebody does not talk right nicely with you? Who told you that having wealth is the very sign of prosperity? Who told you that to be happy you have to look beautiful and good and radiating? Who told you that? But you believe it somehow. These beliefs are not coming out of the company that you have. These are self nurtured and they are it seems like that we have always been trained for these beliefs. Nobody has told us, just like who has told uh, a cat to be scared of a dog? Who has told? Like, how does every bird knows its own predator? Somehow, nobody has given them any training, but they sense it that there is danger, and then they keep themselves away from that predator. Who has told them that this is the sign of threat? And how is it a threat? If at one stance we say soul is eternal, the other instance we fear death. No, it's in itself is such a hypocritic belief that you're saying that soul atma amar hai. You will take out your Gitas and your all these scriptures and say that soul is eternal, it never dies. And then everybody is doing Mahamrityunjay jap so that the mrityu does not reach them. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. So the beliefs are inherent that, no matter how many times we repeat that Atma is Amar, the soul cannot die. Inherently, we believe that I must fear death because there will be a day when, I'll not be living in this body. So these false beliefs are inherent. They're not acquired newly. They have been with us for quite a long time now, and they are the result of untested philosophy. We hear things, all good things we know. Everybody knows what goes around, what comes around goes around, or like, do this and do that, and then everything will be coming back to you. Everybody will say fancy terms, positive energy, good era, all those things, aura. So everybody has a philosophy which looks very good to hear. But if you see that philosophy in practice, it will be very hard scenery to find. Nobody talks their walk. Like, if they're talking what they're saying, are they also walking on those things? They are not. So, untested philosophy, saying that I am Atma, I am Satchidananda, saying that and believing that are two different things. Saying it is too fancy, but believing it requires some real good intellect and some patience to decipher, to operate that philosophy. So when the philosophy is not tested, then the beliefs that we have formed, they again further water our already held beliefs, which have been nurtured inherently by us in the previous births, and they're concurrently running with us. So that is called ignorance. So right, so we know that superstition is one thing. Superstition is madness. But not caring about, what is, like, if I ask you guys, right, what is it that matters most? Just assume that you are in your on your deathbed, right? How many of you are going to, call for your balance sheet and see how many assets do I have and how many liabilities do I have? What would matter if you're on your deathbed? And then do you not be like, do you not worry then that what is going to come after I close my eyes? What future is going to be for me? But as of now, today, I did not wake up thinking that I might end up dying today. And I was worried constantly about my balance sheet throughout my day. The balance sheet which I would never ask for if I'm in hospital. The balance sheet which I would never care about if my daughter is not well. The balance sheet I would rather not think about if there is a tragedy in my family. But that balance sheet is constantly there in my mind when I cannot see my death around. I cannot see adversity around. So the adversities, whenever they knock in, we suddenly forget about all these luxuries and all the accumulations we have. But the moment we see that those clouds of suffering, those clouds of bad luck, those clouds of death and bad health, they are fading away, we suddenly again want to become rich, want to be famous, want to fight for status. Now, that is where we have not tested the philosophy. We have not even questioned the very essence of life. So, untested philosophy, that what do you believe? What is your philosophy of life? That leads to ignorance. And these mixed up with, like what we say, tadka lagana. If these are mixed up with that materially obsessed science, the science which tells you that you need the latest automatic smart AC in your house because it's too much painful to, use your fingers to press that button on your remote. So, your AC should be smart enough to sense the body temperature and then it will adjust its own temperature accordingly. Nobody needed that. Nobody needed an automatic toothbrush. Nobody needed. But it is there, it is out there. The science is innovating on the things that we don't need, and then they're running campaign to sell those things to us. They're selling us the things that we don't need because they are so materially obsessed that they've run out of the things that they could do for the soul. And so now they're doing everything for the body. So, I will have, the latest upgrade on this iPhone would be it is, the body which it has is made from same metal that is used in aeroplanes making. What do I do with that? It help me. But I like I like you, you feel attachments, desires, sins, all that are considered the shortcomings of human nature. They all originate from this trio of unquestioned faith, untested philosophy, and materially obsessed science. They together to craft a life that is giving a very horrific future for all of us.
Anubhav Bhai is joining in a bit because of lack of network.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Sorry. Yeah. So the just the faith gone wrong and the whole trajectory gone very wrong, right? So the wrong faith ultimately led to misconduct, which meant, passions, kashay, rag, dvesh, moh, krodh, maya, lobh, anger, pride, mischief, greed, attachments, all the shortcomings of human nature, they got manufactured by just that false belief, that one slip of being our faith unquestioned, being our philosophies untested, and being our science materially obsessed. It has led to all the bad that we see around in this world. Correct? So, what happens when we correct our faith? When our faith is righteous, what happens then? Then we suddenly become objective, objective in our approach. We become rational in our approach. Our knowledge does not remain knowledge. The Gyaan does not just remain Gyaan. It gets transformed into Vivek, right? So we become objectively rational. Like uh, the simplest of the questions that marriage is marriage a subjective reality? Is it bigger or is it money? Objectivity says that it is piece of paper. It is piece of paper. Objectivity. Subjectivity says that to me it is money, right? And because it is money, this paper suddenly has value, which the paper does not have, but the stamp on this paper carries, right? So the value is subjective. And because this value, therefore this value, because it is subjective, it can be taken at any point in time. It happens in the time of the paper notes that you were having, in your pockets is suddenly turned into a paper in no time, right? So the value is not objective, it is subjective. Marriage is subjective. What did you exchange? For malas you exchange anything, but it's all in belief, right? There is no proof of it. There is a person who is dead, but his parody is parody. Is it dead or alive? What do you say? Now that certificate is not. So if you go subjectivity, he's not. He is dead. Is more rational approach. That's what we need. I'm Anubhav, I am the knower. What is more objective? Anubhav is the name you have given. It might change. Not call me Anubhav. My father will not call me. It's the name. It's the subjective reality. So, I hope it makes sense. So, objectivity of the knowledge, the Gyaan I'm so sorry for the bad internet. Uh, was I audible while I was speaking last? Yeah. Yeah. So the objectivity of the substances and the subjectivity in our processing of those substances are two different things. And what right faith does is it makes the objective part highlighted and the subjective part is ignored. So, yeah, this is money, but it's a temporary introduction. Ultimately, it is Pudgal, and it does no good to my consciousness. So the Gyan now has objectivity, rationality. It sees things in their true form. Though this body looks beautiful to me while I look at the mirror, but in reality, it's bones and blood and flesh. It's nothing more than that. It's not worth living for and taking all the trouble that I'm taking for this body. So when the objectivity hits and it runs over the subjectivity, then the magic happens. Then what happens? Then we suddenly have peace, harmony, equanimity. We automatically, this translates into right conduct. So if I can see you getting angry at me and not using really nice language with me, I'll rather take it subjectively and rather I'll take it objectively. Like, yeah, it's okay. You are a conscious being, you have all sorts of emotions, and it's okay you have that spurt of emotion right now. I am also a knower. I have the power to accept it or to ignore it. And I would choose to ignore it because it keeps my peace to me. Now, because I could be objective and could not take it personally because that was purely subjective. What, like, you are angry. I am not angry. So, why? Because you are angry, I should also be angry. How does it even add up? So, because I could take the objectivity above the subjectivity, my conduct changed. My response to that situation, my response to that stimulus, it changed completely. So, this objective rationality leads to right conduct. And that's what our acharyas are saying, the unity of darshan, gyan, and charita. That's what beauty. If our darshan is in check, it keeps Gyan rational and objective. And if the Gyan is rational and objective, there is literally no enemy that you have out there to harm you because you simply becomes pure consciousness. Objectively, I am just the soul. I am just the knower. And you cannot upset a mirror. How do you upset a mirror? Like, you undo your hair, put some black color in your face, you do not take bath for a month, and then you go in front of a mirror. Can you make it upset? Because mirror knows that my objectivity is my honesty is in just reflecting whatever scene comes in front of me and not to pass on the judgment. While I had false faith, I misconstrued it that, just right after knowing, I also have to give the certificate to this reality that this is beautiful, this is good, this is bad, this is not good for me, this is harmful, this is cruel. That was subjective opinion of mine. Like if I ask you, which flavor of ice cream is the best? It's not factual, right? If I say chocolate, you say vanilla, somebody else is butterscotch. It's your subjective opinion. There is no objectivity. And if we keep fighting, you say, no, I like chocolate. I say, no, I like butterscotch. And no, we can fight. We can fight the whole night, but we'll reach nowhere. That's the problem when we have wrong faith. We are always fighting over subjective things. While in reality, our focus should be on the objectivity of the things. That's what the Vivek does. That's what the Gyan does. And that's what the very definition of what Acharyas gave to us of the Mokshmarg, that, you keep your belief high and upright. Samyagdarshan Gyaan Chaaritraani Mokshmaargah. How do you do that? You first nurture your belief. You very carefully calculate that what are your beliefs, what is it that you believe in. Dansan, Mullo, Dhammo. You give Gyaan its due respect. You know that, I cannot be an ignorant person. I cannot afford to be one because this lifetime is a precious one where I have all the luxury of contemplating all the thoughts given by all the philosophies. I'm living in golden era. I have all the information at the tip of my finger. And if I choose to be ignorant today, that what is right, what is wrong, which temple to go to, which temple to not go to, what practice to follow, what not to follow, what to wear, what not to wear. If we are fighting over these superficial things and we're not using our knowledge, then of what use is our knowledge? We constantly see the death which is approaching us. We constantly see that this body is frailing slowly and decaying slowly. Yet, if we do not use our knowledge to make that bridge which can make us cross this great river of samsara, then of what use our whole consciousness is? And if our Gyaan and Darshan are in check, then what leads is, what happens is that this Charitra, the ultimate conduct, it becomes our dharma, it becomes our lifestyle. So charitra, emerges as the very emergent quality of the soul, dharma. And therefore, knowledge is the essence of the living being. In comparison to knowledge, right faith is more essential to have that stamp on that knowledge that it is right knowledge. And because right faith means the darshan, the belief will lead to the conduct, to the character, and not the knowledge. So being very knowledgeable is not appreciated in Jainism. Being firm believer of tested knowledge is what leads to a good character. And therefore, character is the most important thing, the charitra, because that leads to the attainment of nirvana. So how do we initiate into all this? So Acharya gave this one small sutra in Sanskrit, and he says that how do you start this journey and how do you make it right? How do you put your philosophy, faith, and science in harmony? Acharya Uma Swami Dev says, Tatvarth Shraddhanam Samyak Darshanam. Why don't you start contemplating the reality around you and make your own version of it by testing it objectively, and also seeing these subjective interferences that we have been, giving because of our ignorance, our ignorant past, because our inherent false beliefs. So when we test and give ourselves a chance to contemplate what is the meaning of things around us, and if we can conclude in objective sense that though there are six substances, there are seven tattvas, and if we can make our belief about it right, that is called Samyagdarshan, to believe the reality and its pure essence is righteous faith, Samyagdarshan. And that will lead to the great transformation of not only the faith, not only the philosophy, but also the science, which will finally get its eyes, because today's science is blind because it cannot see what is the invisible. And science, which does not see the invisible, is not science for the invisible self, which I am. Right? So, with this, I would like to stop here on this conversation about faith, philosophy, and science. Uh, the center point of this conversation was self, and to keep self as the pivot to which all these three things revolve, and to introduce this very concept of Samyak Darshan Gyan Charitra as the initiating path of Jain philosophy, and also to encourage all of us to very diligently think about the tattvas and what their true essence is. I hope this would help you all. It would help us all in initiating into a fresh relook in Jain philosophy and how can we utilize that wisdom to craft our lives with superior wisdom and higher conduct character. Thank you so much. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you so much, Anubhav Bhaiya. I guess the main motive, the purpose of conducting these lectures is only to have a beautiful and up to date conclusion, which we already had. And Darshan Gyan Charitra is something I feel most basic fundamental, which every one of us should learn and practice in life. Anubhav Bhai has beautifully presented Darshan Gyan Charitra in the form of a truth table, when the conduct is false, when the belief is righteous, and when it is not. All the possibilities we have seen. Now it's our responsibility to practice and make our belief more stronger to reach to a right conduct. I guess this platform is open for questions now. Since we had the conclusion lesson right now, you guys are open to ask any questions in and around the topic. Any questions or any addition to the any of the points which we had today? Yes, Muskanji.
Jai Jinendra Anubhav ji. Like many a times this happens that we have this belief कि chappal ulta rakhna nahi hai and all those things कि this day we have to wear this color dress or such mentality has been going around since our childhood. So how to explain them that it is wrong?
See, I think the whole point of why I brought up with this, topic was this that, this, this is our very natural gut feel that, if somebody else is doing something wrong, we should correct it. But why do we even have to correct them? Self should be the supreme thing. I must let go of that belief. That should be our effort. Because, we are not here to preach. Jainism is not about preaching. Our Tirthankaras have not preached us anything. They remain confined in their Gyaan and Anand Sukh. Dividvani automatically followed. They did not plan to give it to us. That wisdom automatically, the Pudgal danced, seeing him in this ecstasy. It's not our responsibility to correct everybody. If you think there is somebody who respectfully seeks wisdom from you, you give them you enlighten them with all your might. But if somebody does not need it, it's not that cheaper knowledge that it should be given to anybody. If we do not have a person who is able, like in Panchtantra, we have this story of that bird and monkey, right? So bird kept on telling the monkey to make your own nest because the rains are coming. The monkey did not listen to, and the rain came, and it started raining. And the bird started telling that monkey, "See, I told you so." So now the monkey did not make his own nest. That's true. But because bird kept on preaching, the monkey, out of rage, destroyed that bird's nest as well. So we're not here to tell anybody that your belief is wrong, your belief is right. Everybody is very happy in wherever place, in whatever place they are. And we respect that. That's their individuality, their, acceptance that, if that makes them happy, let them be. That would, we are calling it ignorance because we are trying to be wise. For them, that's not ignorance. For them, it's their reality. Don't take away anybody's reality from them unless they want to shed off their reality, right? So it's not our duty to correct anybody.
Thank you. Any other questions do we have?
I think I'll add one comment to what Anubhavji said. That's true that unnecessary advice to give it to the masses, for example, and then I'm right and you all are wrong. That's going to give the really bad impression, as you said, that a monkey is going to break the nest of the bird. So rather than that, if somebody is asking for it, then yes, we give positive answers rather than saying what you did is wrong. Don't say that way. Rather than I'll just say that, hey, you know what? Mahavir preached that way, Gurudev preached that way, and these are the facts. That's all we have to do and stop there. And then the person has an intelligence, then he or she will start thinking about it. So I think what you say is, I'm just second that comment that you give. Thank you very much. Good.
Thank you, Creed Uncle, for supporting the
Thanks.
point. Any other questions do we have? Since this is the conclusion lecture, I wish if someone could also summarize the conclusion.
I think you brought it up, the very unique subject which is dear to all the Jains, and any Jains that we talk about. I mean, you just say Samyagdarshan, Samyagyan, Samyak Charitra, they will have some idea. But the uninitiated adult who has no idea at all of anything, and to give this kind of technical words to enter in their mind, I think, this is a great way of a presentation. I don't think I can do that way. I mean, I will not be able to do that. But you have done it. So congratulations. Again, it's a great beginning, Thank you. You're an awesome person.
I guess Poonam ji had one question in the middle of the lecture. If you are here, Poonam ji, you can.
No, I didn't. Sorry, for once I didn't have a question. I was just thinking about everything that Anubhav ji has said and taking it on board. Thank you so much.
Okay. I guess we are done with the questions. And before we proceed to Jinwani Stuti, I would have never thought that English could also be equally good medium to explain Darshan Gyaan Charitra. Very thankful for that. And before we proceed to Jinwani Stuti, let me just again showcase you all with the accessible points. So all of the links which are accessible, I'll post it on the chat box as well. You can email us support@jeev.net.in. If you have any queries, any doubts, feel free to connect. Website URL is also right in front of you. I'll post it in the chat box. All the social media handles are there listed. And feel free to connect for any queries. Once you log into the website, you can log in with your mail ID, contact number. This will help you to get all the updates, whatever we are posting on JEEV portal, whatever YouTube links, YouTube lectures are being posted on the portal, and whatever the future lectures are upcoming. Let's say we have something special for Mahavir Jayanti, we have something special for Gurudev Shri Janma Jayanti, and regular guest lectures as well as other lectures. So all of the updates you will get once you log into the website, and you'll get it directly through an email. Jinwani Stuti.
निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए चिन्हवाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार उसके लिए चिन्हवाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है 9 times नमोकार मंत्र